Start your show now, press 1. To hear important instructions, press 2.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nobody take no cornbread from me.
All right, here we go. I think that's it. All right. I'll cut this down. Yeah, cut that down. At least for now. All right. All right, guys, how you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black at Night Show, a special edition of the Tim Black at Night Show, actually. So I want to welcome everybody on Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about some very controversial subject matter tonight, and I hope you're ready for it. I think it's something that our community wants and needs to be heard. But before I do that, as customary for this channel, what we got to do is make sure everybody can hear us, because this is the internet. What's playing? Is that me? Got it. All right, so let me check out my people on Facebook. Facebook people, can you hear me at Facebook? What's up, Chris? What's up, Amanda? What's up, Lisa? How you doing? Lisa, don't worry, Lisa. They'll give you a status back as a top fan. Thank you for being here, Lisa. Hey, thank you for posting this video or posting the this live stream on your social media. I appreciate you. Thank you, Chris. What's up, Sharon? What's up, Victoria? What's up, Dolores? I see ya. What's up, Colleen? Northern California's in the house. All right. Patricia. All right. George. I know it's a somber occasion, but anybody see the meme? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think by now someone would have told me if they couldn't hear me. What's up, Nessa? What's up, Steve? So Facebook is good. Lisa says she's good. Nessa, Margarita. Hey, Margarita, how you doing, Mitch? All right. And Laura and Billy. What's up, Billy? Billy like, Tim. I'm like, Billy. All right, so let's go and check, make sure that we got all systems to go on YouTube. All right. And I'm coming back over to YouTube. All right. YouTube, can you hear me? Vasquez, Amers, Schultze, Jerry, Joseph, Brett, Devon, Ken. Eli, what's up, man? Thank you, Eli. Eli's moderating tonight. Thank you, Eli. Frederick Murphy. Fred Lexlow's into his house. What's up, Fred? Fred's also moderating. Is that a wrench, Fred? Bam! I got 3 moderators, don't I? On YouTube. Tatiana, what's up, Tati? What's up, Chris? Mr. Robot. Karen Mitchell. All right. All right, guys. What's up, Buck? Buck is in the house. What's up, Buck? Moderator and administrator over on the Tim Black Speak On It page. Please go join that, guys. Joy and Buck are my moderators and administrators on the Tim Black Speak On It page. So that's on Facebook, obviously, and just go join. We have great conversations there about issues, and we want to make it the after party spot. So the after show spot, that's where you go. After the show, you know, instead of staying here in the chat as it dies down and then nothing, you go over to the Facebook group, Tim Black Speak On It, and kind of continue the conversation there. So that's something we're working on getting done. So hopefully you guys will come over and do that. You know, like Bill Maher's got the after party thing. What he's got, the overtimers, overtime. Yeah. All right, guys. I see we got. I want you guys to know we got phone lines open tonight. All right. The number's down here on the screen. If it's too small for you, the number's 319-527-6212. The mic is good. It'll pick up anything. Had to move away from the mic. So call up, guys. If you, I hope you do call up. Because believe me, this is the night I don't want to carry this all alone. Some nights are just too much for one man to carry. I'll admit I need help. I'll admit I need more voices. And that's what this is for. It's like therapy and fact sharing and opinion and commentary. All right. So, okay, so let me break down what tonight's show is about. Okay? And you're going to open phone lines. I suggest start calling in. If you can still hear the show while the phone line's on. After seeing the traumatic events that have occurred the last couple of days, after those traumatic events of the last couple of days were fed all across news waves, I felt a push inside of me telling me that it would be a good time to have a conversation that you won't get on corporate media. And even if they did have a conversation on corporate media like this, would real people be able to join in? And if people did join in, say there was a forum on a CNN or MSNBC or even a Fox News, would you believe that those people were being genuine, or would they be hand-picked people? We're always skeptical about that. So I said, well, we have the opportunity with the Tim Black Wolfpack that we can just open up phone lines. We can talk about an important event, a situation, a trauma, and let real people talk about it. As is also customary with this channel, I will start it off. A number of people lost their lives over the weekend. As with most murders, unnecessarily. It's one thing to lose your life in a traumatic event, in a catastrophe like a flood or hurricane or tornado. It's another thing altogether to lose your life in a situation that's like a total mishap, a horrific mishap like a car accident, a bolt of lightning, a slip and fall in a bathroom. But it's something altogether different when you lose your life, or should I say when we lose the lives of loved ones or friends or neighbors or people in our community over murder. So we had a number of shootings. Dayton, Ohio. See, I said Dayton. Also, El Paso, Texas. And originally, I was just going to go with those two main events and just have that conversation and open up the phone lines, and because there's a lot there to chew on, right? Because, of course, we know every time there's a mass shooting, we talk about gun control. And some of us talk about it before there's a mass shooting. So I don't want to put us all in that category, because some of us will talk about it regardless. It doesn't take CNN or MSNBC or Fox getting involved for us to recognize that there's gun violence. But I was going to leave it there, frankly, because these mass shootings, hey, let's address it. But then I got a message from a friend. Charlie Peach, she was like, Tim Black, man, look what happened in Chicago. Look what happened in Chicago. Shootings in Chicago leave many dead. We'll get to the numbers in a moment. Then my friend Eli, moderator, I saw a message that he sent me as well. It was like, it was well put, right? Long message, but the beginning, the thrust of it was the other killings and murders that have gone on in other communities that we would do well to also address. So we will. Of course, folks, if you don't know by now, I'm talking about the Chicago incident, the El Paso incident, the Dayton incident, but so many other incidents. So we'll just start here, because this is where they really want us to go. They want us to talk about Donald Trump. And frankly, guys, I got no problems talking about Donald Trump. But we're going to discuss tonight also reasons why this has nothing to do with Donald Trump. And if it does, it's only peripheral. But, yeah, there's blame to be made for Donald Trump in this. And there's a case to be made, not just about Donald Trump, but the media. And I want to present that to you as well. See, because we had these conversations, and it's like it's like some of these news entities, frankly, guys, they just play one note. They have one note, they keep playing it to you. Donald Trump's racist, Donald Trump's racist. Or they play the other note, which is media's fake news, fake news, fake news. Corporate media, left-leaning corporate media, center-right or center-left media, fake news. Don't trust them. And what's missing after all of that shenanigans that's going on is reality. As close to reality as we can get, right? Because we'll always color it with our own perceptions. Kind of hard to avoid it because you're a human being. But tonight we're going to try to do our best to not color it, but to present it. Let other people make their minds up. So let's get down to it, man. Anyone who doesn't know about the shooting, and we'll start with El Paso, Texas. If they don't know exactly what happened, we have a little bit of footage here of just sort of give you the skeleton of it before we dive into the meat of it.
NBC News reporter Ben Collins, who has been looking into the suspect. Ben, there has been talk. An NBC News reporter, Ben Collins, who has been looking into the suspect. Ben, there has been talk of this manifesto. They have found a manifesto. Police are not yet confirming that the manifesto was tied to or written by the suspect that they have in custody, but that seems to be the working assumption at the moment. What do we know about this manifesto?
Yeah, so law enforcement does believe that this is a manifesto. They haven't confirmed yet, but they do believe that. It was posted on 8chan, which is an extremist website, ostensibly, hours before the shooting. It was deleted shortly after the shooting happened. It's a wildly anti-immigrant manifesto. It's 3 pages of hatred against immigrants and people, viewed as basically invaders to the United States, where they believe, and people generally on this extremist forum where these people get radicalized, believe that there is only so much space or only so many jobs in this country, and it's being replaced by Mexican immigrants. And in his case, he also believed automation in this thing. So it is a racist and anti-immigrant manifesto that was posted on a site known exclusively for that. And by the way, this is not the first time this has happened. The Christchurch shooter, who killed 49 people, posted his manifesto on the same website. 4chan, which is like a sister site to 8chan. A month after that Christchurch shooting, there was a manifesto posted by the person who shot up a synagogue in San Diego. And last week, the Gilroy shooter, he posted, he told people to read a manifesto that has been posted to 4chan and 8chan literally hundreds of times. It's from the 1890s. I'm not sure he came about that in a library. So this is a real issue. There is a body count associated with this website now. And I think people are going to start having to look into it.
There's a body count associated with the website. You and I have talked about this really in the wake of almost every mass shooting that we've covered. For our viewers who don't understand 4chan and 8chan, what are they?
They're just extremist forums now. They used to be places where people could anonymously post things like art, or it was a big anime forum to start. 4chan has Japanese roots. 2chan, its predecessor, had that too. 8chan was created because 4chan, which is a wildly racist place on its politics forum, was simply not enough for them. 8chan is legions worse. And it is exclusively a place where people post about the upcoming race war, basically. That's where today, after the shooting, the shooter is viewed as a martyr. And that's what they're talking about right now on that website. This is a place where I'm going to interrupt you in a moment because Joe Biden's going to be speaking in Las Vegas. He'll be reacting to this. But let me ask you, are there breadcrumbs or footprints leading up to this manifesto? I know that's probably secondary in what you're looking at. You'll start to look at this now. But as of now, is this a standalone, or was this person active on these forums? It's hard to know. 8chan is an anonymous place, basically. You can post whatever you want to post. But if he knew how to get there and upload a PDF to their website, which is what he did, shortly before, in fact, he messed up uploading the PDF at first and then posted it again. He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly who he was targeting with this, and he was basically, it's a call to action. It's not simply just his beliefs on stuff. He's saying, I'm a part of a much larger thing. That's what this is about for these people. It's about taking down immigrants, and he is wholly aware of that, I'm sure.
Okay. Okay, so some important takeaways you need to know about the El Paso, Texas shooting is that, first of all, he was a very young man. He is a very young man. He was taken alive. He's 21. I won't say his name. That's on purpose. He drove from a Dallas suburb 10 or 11 hours away from El Paso, Texas. According to reports, they believe he got lost. He didn't know exactly where he was going. He just knew he was going somewhere near the border. He happened upon the shopping center. He has been given information, so I guess that's where they get the information from. He said he was hungry, so he stopped here, this particular mall. He went in at Walmart and killed 22 people. At least now the death toll is up to 22. There are many other people still in the hospital fighting for their lives as we speak right now. So this manifesto that he left behind, or that he left, once again, he's still alive, so we can have these conversations. We can find out exactly what motivated him beyond what was printed on the internet. But according to all reports, as you just heard, this guy was anti-immigrant. He believes that the immigrants are taking over the country. When I mean immigrants, I mean brown people, people from across the border, the southern border, not the northern border, of course. So that's what this is about. That's what the El Paso thing is. We're saying, well, what they're saying, what the media is saying is that this young man was driven by hate. bigotry. And if you read the manifesto, you probably come away with the same thing. So what was it? And whose fault is that? That this young man hates immigrants so badly he would drive 10, 11 hours away from where he lives. So it's not that he's got a bunch of immigrants in his community. Well, maybe he does. I don't know. Dallas is pretty diverse. Even Dallas suburbs are pretty diverse, right? So it really makes no sense to me. But he drove that far for a reason. Maybe he wanted a certain blend, a certain, brand of immigrant. Maybe we'll find that in the manifesto. The point is, he obviously has something against immigrants. I wonder where he got that feeling from. So that's what we're coming away with right now. They want someone to blame for why this guy did what he did. And we got a whole list of potential blamers or blamees. Yeah, blamees. One of those being Donald Trump himself, President Donald Trump. So on one side, we got people going, hey, Donald Trump's got to be the guy. It's his fault. Look at his rhetoric. Look how he talks. And on the other side, we got people going, no. Why are you blaming Donald Trump? This is all BS. It's a lie. Donald Trump didn't make this killer drive 10, 11 hours and kill numerous people. So why are you blaming Donald Trump for? This is all a hoax. This is all framing of Donald Trump. This is all the left attacking Donald Trump, and all they want to do is take your guns away. Which is, by the way, what has been the narrative that's been floated on both sides ever since Donald Trump took office, and every time there's a shooting. It's the same stuff. This is not new. My thing is this. I wonder why people would think that Donald Trump has something against immigrants. I wonder why people would think that Donald Trump bears responsibility for this. What could Donald Trump possibly have done for people to think that? I wonder where they get it from. Let's find out. I got a couple ideas.
NBC reporter Ben Collins, who has been looking.
Shut up.
President Trump took to Twitter this morning, trying to deflect a lot of the criticism he's getting this morning, blaming the media for the anger and rage that led to this deadly weekend. This comes as many people are actually pointing toward the president's own past words, specifically at some of his rallies, where he would use rhetoric like this.
The country puts the name in the basket, and you pick people out of the lottery. Well, let's see, this one's a murderer. This one robbed 4 banks. This one, I better not say, is kidding. This one, another murderer. Ladies and gentlemen, another murderer. Think of this. Do you think they're going to put their great citizens? They have great citizens. They have great people like we have great people. Do you think those people are going into a lottery? No. This is an invasion. When you see these caravans starting out with 20,000 people, that's an invasion. I was badly criticized for using the word invasion. It's an invasion. But how do you stop these people? You can't. There's no... That's only in the panhandle you can get away with that statement. Only in the panhandle. So it's a tough situation, but if they change the loopholes, we'll have it perfectly. And when the wall is finished, it's going to be great.
If you couldn't hear that response, that was someone in the audience saying, shoot. Now, Philip Rucker, White House Bureau.
Yeah, we don't need to hear Phil. So, yeah, that might be a reason why people would think that Donald Trump could bear some of the responsibility for a young man who gets deranged enough to run across town, drive 10, 11 miles, and shoot people he doesn't know only because he thinks that they're bad immigrants. These are bad people taking away the resources from America. These are people, as Donald Trump says, killers, rapists, or whatever, horrible people, the worst people who come to America wanting to get in. He called them invaders, invasion. So, I know there's this pushback. People say, well, still a person has their own mind, their own will. They have to make their own decision. They got to make a better decision. You can't blame Donald Trump for some punk 21-year-old who doesn't realize that shooting people, murdering people was, against the laws, or at least unethical, or at least unchristian. I don't know. Well, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. When you are a public speaker, when you are a leader, when you are someone who's in the public eye, you have to be responsible with the words that you use. You have to be responsible with what you say. Does that sound like a responsible person, Donald Trump, saying these people are invaders? Does he not know that there are people in America who aren't that stable mentally? Does he not know? Is he totally unaware that there are some people who would take him at his word? Would take him and say, oh, president just said we need to do something. In their mind, the way that they look at things. That person might have an issue. Doesn't he have some type of responsibility to all of us? Forget that person who may take his words and go carry them out or take them to the furthest extreme. My thing is, doesn't he owe us a level of protection from the unhinged people whom his words may incite? See, when you're up here defending Donald Trump, you forget just because you would not act in a murderous way based on something Donald Trump or anybody else says, doesn't mean other people wouldn't. And Donald Trump has a responsibility to temper his language. He's the president. Why are you defending he's supposed to be the most responsible person in the country? Because he is given the most responsibility of anyone in the country. And instead of people holding Donald Trump to the level of responsibility of the office that he holds, they want to give him no responsibility. They want to say that he can be as irresponsible as me, Tim Black, or even less responsible. Yeah, because he's just in the moment at a rally. Why should he be held accountable? There have been people who have argued with me. Donald Trump's a citizen. Why come he can't say what he wants to say? He should be able to say whatever he wants to say. And that's why I won't go on certain people's show anymore, because some people are idiots and some people are disingenuous and some people don't care about truth. If you are an influential person in the public eye, ladies and gentlemen, you bear responsibility for your words. Now, I'm not even getting into Charlottesville yet, because I know that's out there. People thinking about it. And the other grocery load of comments that Donald Trump has made here and there. And I've got some stuff in there about that I want to talk about Charlottesville. Spoiler alert, some of it wasn't as true as you think. But the bottom line is Donald Trump, in his own words, talked recklessly, demonizing immigrants for political expediency. And you nor I know exactly how much of an impact that has. But if it has any impact at all in a negative way that puts any American citizen in danger, that's on him. It shouldn't be something people defend. Though I'm seeing people trip over themselves to defend it. No one would be defending you if you say something on your channel that gets people hurt. No one would be. See, that's how I know you're full of it. Because if you said something in jest, in the heat of the moment, that resulted in the loss of property, they come get you tomorrow. Wouldn't nobody be rallying for your ass. You just be somebody who just got locked up. They go, oh, poor such and such. Used to have a YouTube channel. Now they in jail. All right, well, I guess I got to watch Tim Black or Kyle Kalinske now. See, because in reality, no one gets a pass like that. If you say something on your blog that results in the dangerous or the agony or the pain or the hurt or the murder of someone else, you can be sued, civil court. And if it's criminal, you can also be sued criminally. We all know these things. We all get it. We get it. We know it. But for Donald Trump, people make excuses. Donald Trump came out, he made a statement about all of this. He made some comments about it. Guess he wants to mitigate it. And why wouldn't you? Of course you would. And also respond to it. So let's check that out. Let's give him an opportunity to say his piece and respond to the situation at hand. I don't know if you were able to watch this, but check this out.
I think the content of what the president said was on point. The problem is what he said can't be reconciled with what he said previously. And I'm sure this network and others will juxtapose what he just said today compared to what he said just a few days ago. When you have someone shouting out from the audience that a way to stop illegal immigration is to shoot them, and you laugh at that and think that's funny, when you have a public platform, you have a responsibility to not incite people, not to create dangerous situations. And the president has done this routinely. And we all should blame the shooter. There's nobody who doesn't blame the shooter. But in this case, if you want to put out racist tweets, laugh at violence against immigrants, I'm sorry, Mr. President, you own this one. This one is on you. I think the content.
Actually, guys, what I have to do, because I don't actually have a video of Donald Trump's remarks. That was Rick somebody making a statement about Donald Trump. Here goes Donald Trump. This is what he said in a press conference. He gave a 9-minute or so press conference, and this is the crux of what he said. He said, in one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. These sinister ideologies must be defeated. Hate has no place in America. Hatred warps the mind, ravages the heart, and devours the soul. Early on Monday, Mr. Trump wrote on Twitter that Republicans and Democrats should come together to pass gun safety legislation, perhaps marrying it with new immigration laws, two issues that have long divided the parties. He went on to say in his tweets, we cannot let those killed in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio, die in vain. Likewise, for those so seriously wounded, we can never forget them and those many who came before them. Republicans and Democrats must come together and get strong background checks, perhaps marrying this legislation with desperately needed immigration reform. We must have something good, if not great, come out of these two tragic events. And see, that's where we have to look at Donald Trump and say, okay, he's right. I mean, he came out, he said, hey, we don't have any room in this country for white supremacy or bigotry or hatred. Hate has no place in America. We must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. Is that good enough, though? Is it good enough? Has Donald Trump had an opportunity, and did he have other opportunities where he could have said this that may have prevented at least El Paso incident or maybe some other incidents that we don't even know were influenced or by Donald Trump in some way? I don't know. See, my thing is, I get why people are upset with Donald Trump. I understand. And as I stated earlier, I think he has a responsibility when he runs his mouth on these rallies, when he riles people up, when he uses this language of people being invaders. That's a horrible thing. I don't give him any cover at all. But I have a hard time imagining this is all Donald Trump when there were mass shootings way before Donald Trump started his reign as president. Yeah, a lot of people leave that out. There have been mass shootings. There has been bigotry and hatred. It's like one of these fairy tales we have to listen to over and over again. With a left who's looking to get back in the office, and I get it. I understand politics. I know you want to get reelected. But for God's sakes, man, I got to hear another Democrat, another left-leaning, center-leaning, to the left-leaning, never really truly left-leaning politician make it seem as if we were all skipping and holding hands, walking down the road, all colors and shades and orientations and genders before Donald Trump. And then Donald Trump came in and all of us turned evil and the whole world went bonkers and now everybody hates everybody. No, there was a lot of hatred and bigotry already in the mix. It's already baked in. It's part of America's fabric. It's been here before you. It's been here before me. Been here before Donald Trump. Definitely here before 2016, 2017 when he was sworn in. Way before then, right? We know this. We know it. Some of us have forgotten it. But to say that is not to give him cover, but to say that is to just be realistic. And say, do we really want to fix the problem or we just want to help Democrats get reelected? See, that's where I'm having a problem because it smells like get election spirit. You know, that's what it sounds like. Because if you really wanted to look at the problem and solve gun violence, you stop tying it to Donald Trump because there's been gun violence in this country way before Donald Trump. There's too many people looking to score political points, which to me is a disgusting thing to continuously do, off of murder of innocent people. I understand the need to want to do something. Well, let's put our heads together and talk about let's to do something. But let's stop making it all about Donald Trump because it's not all about Donald Trump. I mean, El Paso was debatable. He had rhetoric about immigrants, obviously. He drove a long ways to kill a bunch of immigrants. I don't see that the case in Dayton. It's definitely not the case in Chicago. I have so much information. My head's spinning. I got so much I could present to you. I would just say this. We're going to go to phone calls because I'm sure I have time to bring up other stuff. Donald Trump he has a share of blame about his recklessness. There's a level of condemnation he deserves for just being an all-out jackass, willing to do whatever he needs to do in order to rile up his base, in order to have people be happy at a rally. But that's not everything. And the fact that so many people were shot in Chicago this week and the hospital had to briefly stop taking patients. The fact that the hospital shut down because full capacity, we can't take any more. We already got enough people. We don't have any more beds for more people with bullets in them. That didn't have anything to do with rhetoric Trump made about invasions at the border. So what say you about that? So what we have here is we got other issues we need to deal with. And I'm tired of us not being able to deal with them because people say, well, you just want to bring up Chicago. Do you want to fix Chicago? I would like to fix Chicago. Meaning I would like to help the people in Chicago who don't want to live in a war zone. I'd like to help them. I know it may be inconvenient for you, right? Because you look at everything like, oh, the white people think bad of black people, so we can't admit that somebody needs help. Because we wouldn't want to be looked down at, because you know they're just going to use that to say all of us. I understand. And believe me, I fight with that notion as well. Because I know how racism works. But damn it, we talk about people's lives, player. Sister, we talk about people's lives. Put on your big girl or your big boy draws and get over your fragile egos and your fragile dispositions, and let's say we got to deal with this now. And unless you're willing to go out there in the most dangerous areas of Chicago and put your life on the line to disarm people when they already got the strictest gun laws, we got to admit that there's something else wrong with this country because Chicago got the strictest gun laws. So it ain't the gun laws. See, it becomes an inconvenient truth, man. It's not convenient for me. It's convenient for you. It's convenient for none of us. We are all in this together. Dayton, Ohio. This shooter's gone. He's dead. They took care of him. They got him out of there. He's gone. So the whole he was a white guy. He's dead. Oh, they didn't let that one live. See, it becomes, there's no black or white. There's nowhere to stand where you could just stand over there and just be like, okay, my theory, my ideology is pristine and it has no holes in it. There's some people going, they take the white boys in, they give them a burger. Yeah, they did get that guy a Burger King. They shot this guy. Shot him dead several times, firing squad style. He was running when they did it. Doesn't fit the narrative, right? So maybe we admit that some of these narratives are BS that are put in our heads and issued by the media to get you to think a certain way, to come to a certain outcome, which only helps the status quo and helps these politicians get reelected, these corporations make their money. Meanwhile, we all keep dying. It's not to say that racism doesn't exist and state-sanctioned execution and murder don't exist. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying it's case-by-case basis. That's all I'm saying. The Dayton, Ohio killer killed his sister. Was she an immigrant? I don't know. See, things get murky, don't they, when we start unpacking them. I'm not saying I got solutions for us tonight, but I know damn well we're going to stop believing everything we hear in the media. We've all made the mistake. And then we're going to stop selling these narratives, reselling these narratives. And at least if you do it, you feel a little bad about it. At least after tonight, maybe you feel a little conflicted about repeating things that you're not totally sure of, but just sound good and make you feel better. And if I could do that, maybe we did something. If you can help me do that tonight, maybe you did something. Because we either want to be a part of the solution or part of the problem. At least I hope. So let's work towards that. Phone number, 319-527-6212. You know what we're talking about. Is Donald Trump to blame? Or does he have any blame? Or is he blameless? Yes, yes, yes. Can we have a conversation about gun control or gun violence? Or can we talk about what's going on in Chicago and many other places? They had shootings in Brooklyn. It's not just Chicago. In fact, they're worse. I covered one weekend. It was like 80 people got shot. I think maybe like 40 people got shot this weekend in Chicago. I don't know. Maybe somebody couldn't find bullets this weekend. They didn't have enough bullets. Anyway, guys, 319-527-6212. I'm going to go to the first call, taking calls in the order that they came. 3 minutes, Dougie Fresh. 3 minutes, Dougie Fresh. Let's stick to 3 minutes. We got a full house. Share this on your social media. Let's get conversations in here. My first caller, hang tight, first caller. We look good. It's the 412 number. 412, you're live on Freedom Friday. Whoop, sorry. We're live on Massacre Monday. I don't know what you call this. Monday Motivation. You're live. What's your name and what's your comment?
Hey, Timmy. It is Lois, and that's the other 412. This is a really good thing that you brought up, and it is not an easy thing to have a unifying theory over. And I thought for a moment, gee, they're showing the Manchurian Candidate reruns an awful lot. No, I think it's more than the unifying theory of the 99% being manipulated to kill each other off. That's too far-fetched, even for me. But I do know this. I live in Pennsylvania, and what do I get after a lot of these headlines hit us right and left is Governor Tom Wolf, and of course, you're all supposed to join hands and agree to sign the petition so that the General Assembly can pass a gun legislation or anti-gun, gun control. And then, of course, when you do so, because who wouldn't really want that? I don't know. Very few people as far as I'm concerned. Then, of course, after that you get, we're not done yet. Like, you think you can help me out with a little money. So I think it serves two purposes. Yeah, that was an earnest message. We want gun control. But if I was to list everybody who is controlled by the gun lobby or the NRA and try to figure out who's the real terrorist organization, I'd say it's the NRA. And do they really go to these high-income individual parties and somebody comes in a tuxedo and shoots up the 1%? No. I mean, it's at a mall. It's in a church. It's where most of us gather. It's really quite chaotic, so that we're distrustful, we're sick, we don't know to trust each other, but it's all orchestrated somehow, and that is that we don't do any real thing about it. We don't do really anything about it, and I have no answers, but I know that this is a conversation that has to be had, and I guess that's all. That's all I could say for tonight, Timmy.
I hear you, sister, and thank you so much for the phone call. I appreciate it. You're right. You don't have to have the answers. You don't have to have them. But I appreciate you lending your voice and just sharing your thoughts about it. 501, you're live on Monday, Tim Black Show. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hey, Tom. I'm sorry. Hey, Tim. Sean from Arkansas. Wow, caught me off guard. Hey, man. All right, I got something really special on this topic that I promised to bring in a second. But let me answer your question first and say, in my opinion, it takes a crazy MFer to gun other people down. And to try to spread the blame elsewhere, boy, it sure seems like a reactionary thing, and to push it all the way up to the leader of the country's fault. Okay, we can have a conversation about what mouthy president has to say, but we still can't. He didn't pull the trigger, and everybody knows that. We need to talk about how come we breed so many crazy motherfuckers in this country. That's what I think. Let's put the blame on the shooter. Let's start there. And here's the crazy out-of-the-box idea, because here's the deal, man. Every time we see the same repeat of this thing, and we have a mass shooting and everybody has the same old arguments about gun control, and then we forget, and we sit around until another one happens, and we have the same conversations over and again. So to think outside the box, here's something to blow everybody's mind. What if we had an X Prize and a Department of Defense project to develop nanotechnologies that would allow us to remotely render ammunition inert in gun safety zones? So if you carry a gun through a school doorway, all your bullets become blanks, but not even blanks. They won't even work. And so I know everybody will be like, oh, they'll think of the first reasons will be, well, someone will trick it or someone will do this. If we did some crazy shit like that, the first thing that would happen is that all the regular bullets that are out there right now would suddenly probably double or triple in price instantly. And so we would instantly raise the bar for the next would-be shooter overnight. And if we could actually develop a technology like that, then we could probably reduce inner city shootings and do a whole lot of other things with some crazy tech like that. And if you want to go shoot a deer in the woods where there's no problem, then your bullets are still going to work. But if you want to carry a gun or a weapon into a secured zone, well, you're going to not have any ammo. So there's your out-of-the-box thinking solution. And if that doesn't work, maybe we should just have a standing clemency and $1 million reward for anybody that stops any public shooter. So have fun with that. Thank you, Tim, for all you do. Enjoy the show.
All right, brother. It sounded to me like Sean be listening to a little bit of Chris Rock. Yeah, Chris Rock had a joke about we should make the cost of bullets be like $1 million or $1,000 per bullet. No one would shoot bullets because they're just too expensive. But and I don't think anyone, Sean, is saying the shooter's not responsible. Shooter's life is over. All right, let's make that clear. His life is over. He may still be breathing, but his life's over. We all know that. All right. What I'm saying is, if I said right now, Sean, negative things about you, Sean, horrible things about you, Sean, horrible things that make people hate you, and then something happened to you because of my influence, could happen, or it could be random, but just the fact that I did that, people have a problem with that. Cops would come see me like, hey, you were just online talking smack about Sean. And I know it's different, but what I'm saying is he is the president of the United States. I'm not saying exactly the same thing. It's not, because I would be talking about an individual. But a president can talk about a group. He is the leader of the country. I think people are being too light on him with this. And it's not just this. You should be holding him accountable for this regardless if there was a shooting or not. That type of rhetoric is horrible. It's no place in politics. He's so far out of bounds, he's over in a concession stand. He ain't even on the field of play when he starts making comments like this. And people let it go because he's the president. The Republicans let it go, and his supporters let it go, and I'm not letting it go. But you're right, he did not pull the trigger himself. No, he didn't. That person who pulled the trigger will never, hopefully, ever see the outside of a jail cell or something like that. All right, I'm going to go next call, though. 352. 352, you're live. What's your name? What's your comment?
Big Yogi from, I'm in Gainesville, Florida right now.
All right, talk to
me. I started out in New Jersey. All right, Big Dog, I know just a lot of people do a one-way conversation. Want to have a two-way. I'll give you half my time, 150, because I want to talk with you, not talk to you. Listen, brother, you know what? I love your show, first of all, because you call it the way it is. And here's the thing. You know, a lot of people don't realize that money has influenced everything we do in life. President Trump outright bought the presidency. He came out and said, I don't even need anybody to donate to my campaign. I'll buy this election. And he did it. He bought the election. The man didn't even need anybody to contribute to his election. He right out bought the presidency. He did it blatantly. He said, I'm going to buy this election. I don't need nobody to freaking help me with donations. I got enough money to buy the presidency. And he did. That's the problem with this country. It's not black, white, yellow, green, and all. It's really one color, the green. If you got the money, you could get away with murder. My man said, you got enough money to get away with murder. And now I've seen that if you got enough money, you could buy the presidency. Bernie Sanders is so different from all this. That's why I got to love that man. This man did something unique. He did something so unique. He said, Bernie had no business running against these people that were taking PAC money and corporate money. They were like, Bernie, how you going to compete? And Bernie went out there and did a message and has millions of people sending in $10, $20. Are you kidding me? Tim, help me out a little bit. I need to take a break. I'll do with that. But, I mean, how much does money affect politics? I mean, we got to get the money out of the politics a little bit, bro. Don't you think?
I think we do, brother, and I think that that's part of it. Donald Trump will really help Donald Trump, and I'm going to go to the next call, man. But I appreciate you calling in. One of the things that really helped Donald Trump is the media. Yeah, he used his own money. He took some money too, though. Some people gave him money. But the media gave him so much free publicity. Oh man, like dude, like if you don't have to run your own media ads, you can have CNN, MSNBC, and Fox and all the other media entities running you nonstop, like on everything. Like, dude, that does so much for your campaign. You don't need to spend money if you get free publicity. Hell, there are people right now watching this show who never watched me before, and I've been doing this 5-6 years because I don't have money to promote. I don't have money to buy ads. So if you don't need to buy ads because you have CBS, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, everybody writing about you and putting your video content, your rallies, and your speeches everywhere, nonstop, well, hell, and you're already a celebrity too? Oh, get out of here. He's perfect. I mean, he's good. He's got to worry about nothing. So I think that's part of it, but I do agree money in politics is a problem. It is one of the major problems. It's like top 3 problems. In fact, before I let a candidate come on my show, I always ask them, do you take dirty money? Do you take PAC money? If you do, you don't need to come on my show. Or let it be known. That'll be the first thing I talk to you about. I don't care what else you got going on. I'm going to ask you about that first. You got to explain that. But thank you, brother, for the phone call, man. 678. You're live on the Tim Black Show. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hey, Tim. How you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. What's up, Dave?
What a crazy day, man. Look, I appreciate you doing this, by the way, buddy. You are the man. You are good at what you do, and we are all blessed to have you here, man. There really isn't any way to tackle this issue in 3 minutes. I mean, but I just wanted to call in and kind of highlight what's going on here, I guess. People are freaking out, man. And they're realizing that the country, America, that so many people just have an idea in their head that America's perfect. It's the shining beacon. And the fact that it's got major problems and corruption that is freaking people out. And quite frankly, they just are blaming the wrong people. I don't have Trump derangement system. I don't hate Trump. I think he's an idiot. He's a terrible president. The fact that we have an economy that's doing great is irrelevant. America's economy is always great. We've been the greatest economy for decades. It's where all that money's going to is the problem. But what Trump has done, the people that he has done a far greater damage than just the people who are gone because of this violence. There are a lot of people out there that think immigrants are the problem, and this is just one example of a multi-tiered, there is no way to tackle the whole issue. But just as a prime example, there are a lot of people out there that fear and hate immigrants already and think they're the problem. And there are a lot of undecided people who aren't sure. And what Trump has done by saying these immigrants are invading our country and painting them broadly as criminals when the majority of them are not criminals. Really the most accurate description of them is most of them are good, decent people, and some of them might be criminals. The exact opposite of what he said on his campaign. And what he's done is taken all those mild fears and hate and frustration about foreigners having jobs and legitimized all of it. A far greater bit of damage than just, this is generational damage he's done to the overall scope of the way people feel. And, it's just ridiculous, Tim. Immigrants have absolutely zero power. Most of them, illegal immigrants, can't vote. They have no money. Most of them that come here have zero money, zero power. And blaming them is just wrong. An immigrant doesn't take your job because the immigrant is a bad person. The immigrant takes your job because some shitty-ass employer let him take your job to save a buck. And the reason the employer is able to do that, because some crappy ass politician who wants to keep lower wages for corporations that give him money allowed it to happen. And when a leader doesn't call out the root of the problem, which is the powerful, the rich, the people who have the power, the people who set the agenda, the people who decide how we're going to run this country, those are always the people responsible. Poor people are not the problem. They have no power. What is it you think they're doing? And so that is the real tragedy of what Trump's done, Tim, is give a legitimate voice to people who think these poor, powerless people are responsible for any of this. And I'm dumbfounded at the people who say they didn't see this coming. I mean, yeah. and it's not just Trump. I mean, he is the result of years of this kind of idiotic thinking. But I mean, it stems from the most internal government, and I'm just going to use this as one example. It's not just Trump. It comes from the most internal places in our U.S. government, starting with people like the FBI, who have watchdogs for what they call black identity extremists, which is pretty much black people they think are extreme, which could be you, Tim, which could be any black person who just happens to be fighting for their own self-interest. Yep. But not the KKK. They're not on there. They're not on the terror watch. The Ku Klux Klan, who murdered millions of people, millions of black people. There's no white identity extremists until maybe now. Trump is talking about it, but it's too little too late. And, it's crazy, man. And so I want everybody to know, it's more than just, and there are common sense gun laws too, Tim, that the money in politics is the root of all this. But like if you aren't old enough to own a beer, to operate an alcoholic beverage, then you're probably not old enough to own a gun that can murder 1,000 people. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, Dave.
That's just one example of it. But yeah, let me get out of here. It's not the poor people. It's the people in power that are the problem here. I appreciate you, Tim.
I appreciate you too, Dave, man. What a comment, man. What a way to put it. I love it, man. I tell you, man, I just wanted to add as well, yeah, if you are a person, and I know it exists where people, they feel like there's not enough jobs. Dave's right. I mean, I used to always say this on the job, guys, because we'd have people that would come in. Last time I had a regular job, like a regular person, wasn't doing this. They end up hiring some new people, right, to come in. And a couple of the people that were hired by, big people in management who worked at another location. They say, well, I want to keep these people employed, so let me send them over there. And a couple of them didn't know what they were doing. Like, they weren't up to speed on a lot of the things that we needed to do in order to get through a day. So you end up with extra people who didn't have the actual skill set that was needed in order for us to have a smooth operation. But they were there. They were employed there. And I remember a couple of people getting pissed off, like, man, that's messed up. I don't like this guy. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's in the way. Give me this guy. And I had to tell him, I said, hey, man, remember, they didn't hire themselves. If you are hungry and you need a job to feed your family, to live indoors, out of the elements, would you turn down a job because you say, well, hey, I don't speak the language, so I wouldn't want to, take care of my family, get a paycheck, because I wouldn't want you to feel uncomfortable with other people, Would you turn down a job to take care of your family because you thought some other people might not like you having a job because they wanted the job? Like, no, you ain't thinking about that. You're thinking about your ribs touching. You're thinking about living indoors. You're thinking about people at home who you said you was going to take care of if they help you have enough money to come here. So blaming that guy is easy. Blaming him or her is easy. But the person that hired them is who you need to look at. And the rules and the laws. And the fact that all of you are underpaid anyway. I mean, we're not even keeping up with inflation. If you look at inflation, you make what you pretty much what you were making in 2000. You know, like they've done these studies. I can't name them off the top of my head, but this shows you're getting screwed. We're all getting screwed, or I was getting screwed. I'm getting screwed worse now, but it's by choice. I chose to do what I'm doing now. It doesn't pay well. I didn't choose that. I didn't choose to get screwed over by corporations. So, yeah. I'm getting screwed now. YouTube takes 40%, PayPal takes 15, 20, Patreon takes 20%. Everybody wants percent. They're not doing any work. What are they doing? What are they doing that they should take 30, 40% of what I do? We're always getting screwed. It's a system. But to blame the people that are in the system getting screwed at the lowest level of the system, just recognize that is hate. That breeds hate and bigotry, and it's not solving anything. All right, I'm going to go to the next call. Thank you so much, Dave, for shedding the light. 515, you're live. Tim Black Show, what's your name? What's your comment?
Hey, Tim, this is Anna. I'm just calling up, but you just changed my whole perspective right there. I was going to harp all about, CNN, MSNBC, the value of fear, and really who is profiting on this whole narrative of, Trumpsters going out there, killing people willy-nilly. I mean, think about the whole setup of the 2016 election. Who did they really want? They wanted Trump. They wanted to instill fear. The DNC, the establishment left, they really want people to be afraid, and they want them cornered into voting for the lesser of two evils. But to go off of that, I'm just going to harp on your people getting screwed, Like, I was laid off for having delinquent student loans, and I couldn't find a job for a long time. And the only jobs around in Iowa are temporary jobs. There are no benefits. You have Memorial Day. You had July 4th. You have more holidays coming up, Labor Day. You don't get paid for those hours. So all of a sudden, you have a 40-hour work week. You're already not getting benefits. And now you don't get those hours either. So when you're hurting people, you're hurting them hard. Like, they get nothing. And they're all on Medicaid. I'm on Medicaid now. I've never been on Medicaid. So when you're talking about people hurting, it's not just people immigrating here. It's not just people that, are falling on hard times, had a medical bankruptcy. It's everyday people. It's people without families, without the money to even have children, that are living in very subsidized housing through no fault of their own, because they happen to go to school and they wanted to get an education, and then all of a sudden they are in $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 worth of college loan debt they'll never be able to pay off. And going to the doctor is just a fallacy. That's a dream. It's not a possibility. It doesn't cover dental. It doesn't cover vision. You're just out there like, how are you going to get some glasses? How are you going to get some dental work done? That affects your whole body health, affects your whole human being, and it's just not right. And I can't stand by and watch it go like this anymore. So I am 100% Tulsi. I'm 100% Bernie, and I feel for everyone that is in the same position I'm in, where, straight out of college, I was making $25, $30 an hour. And for the first time in my life, they wrote a law that's put into Iowa code through an ALEC law that's in many states now. And if you have delinquent student loan debt, you are not allowed to hold a professional accreditation with any state or government agency and get paid if you have federal student loan debt that is delinquent. And that is just wrong. It is dead wrong. And we need to stand up for ourselves. Thank you, Tim. I love you.
I love you too. I'm so sorry to hear that. That is some BS. That's some bullshit, sister. That is some utter bullshit. If someone is delinquent on a bill, they need jobs more. Right? The people that are behind with bills are the people that need the work the most. Why would you take away employment from people who need it more than anyone else? Those are the people that are more likely to show up on time every time. The people that got the bills that are piled up. You know, a lot of these shootings, just getting back to the shooting thing, a lot of these shootings, like there's like three. One, the garlic thing. What the hell was that? Okay. And I meant to say this earlier, man. My condolences to anybody who lost anyone in any of these tragedies that we listed tonight or any others that we have failed to list. Okay? But I got to say this, because we got these young guys, these young bastards shooting people, right? California, Dayton, or Paso. I don't know the ages. I'm guessing it was young in Chicago as well. With the way things are going, I'm really surprised that there aren't a bunch of seniors loading up AK-47s and going to town. Yeah, that's what I'm surprised, because we got seniors who living in tent cities in various places, various cities and states across this country, who can't afford to live indoors, who still got college debt from the 80s and 70s and the 60s that they can't get rid of. Yeah, you know, you might want to start checking the walkers that they come in on to make sure there ain't something else in those walker poles, that those poles aren't clip-ons and snap-ons for I'm just, I'm not wishing anything. I'm just saying. You think these young people are pissed off? I'm wondering how pissed off the older people are who have worked their entire lives and now truly realize how screwed they are. See, these young guys, they don't even know how screwed you are. You have no idea how screwed you are, young guy. Oh, you don't know. Nah, life hasn't given you that yet. You really have no idea. You think you're pissed now. Wait till you're in your 40s like me. Wait till you really realize how screwed you are. Wait till you understand the full range of screwed over that you are. It's a fine way aged level of screw over. It's vintage. Oh, man, extravagant. So decadent. By the time you're in your 50s, and you start getting those illnesses and you really truly grasp how bad our healthcare is, and you got to watch a loved person die because of money. Oh, you think you're pissed off, 20-year-old something, millennial? You're pissed off? You just wait, mofo. Oh, yeah, you just wait. Whew. All right, I'm going to go to the next call. That's why we need Bernie, we need Tulsi Gabbard. 606, you're live. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hi, Tim. It's Amanda from Ohio.
What's up,
It's
Amanda?
Amanda from Ohio.
Hey, Amanda from Ohio. How you doing, sister?
I send my condolences to the people up north and in Texas and Chicago and everywhere in America, because there's shootings every day that they don't report on because it don't fit their media agenda. But I wanted to call and say that I think Trump is a little bit at fault because, he does put his words out there. But I feel like it's society, how we treat each other from day to day. And I also wanted to call and say, I don't know if you heard Kevin McCarthy and Dan Patrick, Lieutenant of Texas, said that video games are at fault for all of this. And I have to say, as an avid gamer that played games since I was little, violent video games are bad. You shouldn't oppose them to your kids. That's why they have ratings on them for a reason. But I don't believe that's at fault. I believe it's deep-rooted in this country about how we treat each other and how we talk about society. They spread that manifesto online right after that. I've seen it all over Twitter. And people don't want to sit down and talk about gun, mental health, and all that, but they would rather, hey, look what this guy, did. Let's share this. How about let's not? How about let's sit down and have, a civilized conversation. Yeah, it might be hard to have, but 20 years from now, I don't want to be having the same conversation, because I know in your lifetime, you've had the same conversation many times over things like this. And I don't, I'm the pissed off millennial right now. I don't want to be 30, 40 years down the road saying, God, I wish we could have done something then. You know what I mean? So I just think everybody needs to sit down and talk about this, with your friends, family, local politicians, people in federal government. Sit down and talk to them, even if it's hard for you to do, because if not, you'll be having the same conversation 30 or 40 years down the road.
That's
and
true.
That's all I wanted to say, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda, for the phone call, sister. You're right. We need to have these conversations, and I'm just happy that the Tim Blacks Wolfpack has my back. We're able to have this phone line. We can get a decent amount of people together to have a conversation. Remember, guys, this is going out on Facebook and Periscope and YouTube and iTunes. It's going to be a podcast, so share it with people. Real people, nobody paid here. Nobody, no setups in the audience. None of that. Just real people, real conversations. I got a 703 number in the house. What's your name? What's your comment, 703?
Hey there. My name's Darren, and I actually have a comment and a possible solution that I'm curious what you think of. So first I'll say, we've had guns in this country for a long, long time, and I do think it's just mental illness that's on the rise in America. There are a number of reasons that you've touched on and other people have. I mean, you can just make a list. We've got opioid addiction. We've got stagnant wages. We've got lack of affordable health care. We've got addiction to smartphones and social media. We connect with our phones instead of people. I blame the media a lot. We have like 24-hour news cycles of just depressing stories over and over. And then the last 2 years of just political shenanigans of just Trump and the Democrats. I mean, I think Trump voters are depressed. I think Hillary voters are depressed. So I just think like we are far less mentally healthy than we were like 5 years ago. So I think that's a huge problem. But I'll say this too. I came across what I think is a possible solution, and I think it's one that maybe both sides could agree on. And the reason I say that is because I'm a very pro-Second Amendment person, and I actually heard of this idea from my buddy who's even more pro-Second Amendment than I am. And my wife, she is the opposite. She's very liberal. She hates guns. And yet all three of us kind of agreed that this was kind of a good idea. If you look at the one common thread, well, there's a couple common threads, but one common thread is of these shooters is that like 90% of them are between 18 to 24 years old. They are young people. And when you are young and you're like high school, college age, your hormones, your testosterone, your bad judgment, they are all in overdrive. I think these young people, they just haven't really lived life yet, and they've got, girlfriend problems and this and that, and it's an accident waiting to happen. So I was thinking like something that's never been proposed. There is talking about banning certain guns. I think, how about we ban the sale of guns to people 25 years and younger?
Yeah.
What do you
I
think
think,
of that? I mean,
I think it's an option.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like I say, you look at like the last three shooters, all between 18 to 24, the Columbine shooters, the Sandy Hook. I mean, it really is basically like a young age range that seems to always be doing this, and and it's always males too, But yeah, I mean, I think like we never really discussed like raising the age to buy guns, but I think if we raise that age to like 25, 26. It would take care of a huge amount of this problem. It would be much easier to implement. I think both sides would probably be okay with it. I mean, obviously the Republicans probably less okay with it, but like I say, I mean, I'm on board with it, and so is my buddy. And even the NRA, I mean, from their standpoint, I don't think they make a ton of money selling to 18 to 24-year-olds. It's just like a win-win situation, and I don't know why it's ever been brought up or why people don't go with it.
Well, look, Darren, I like the idea. I think it's something. At least you got a suggestion. I mean, thank you. I got to move on to another phone call. But yeah, I mean, it might be sort of like what Dave was saying. Like if you're too young to like buy, you can't handle the alcohol, you can't handle buying a beer, and why should we let you handle a clip? So I get it, and you're saying take it a step further, make it 25. I think you're right. I think that the young people who will have a problem with it don't have the voting power to stop it. And they're going to, hopefully, more of them will live to be 25 and more of the rest of us, and they would be able to buy their gun. Yeah, it's something to think about, man. I like the idea. I don't know why we haven't had more people talk about more just an age restriction. Makes sense. I would support an age restriction. There we go, guys. We just solved the whole thing. Good night. Take care. Darren solved it. We're good. We're just going to, push for an age restriction. All right, we'll go to another call. 11111. You're live on Tim Black Show. What's your name? What's your comment? That's you, my friend. Hello?
That's not a real number, dude.
Yeah, I know,
You're
but
being
that's...
recorded.
You got a comment for me, brother?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. You got a comment for me?
If this is Adam, my comment is that the problem I feel is just that we don't treat boys right. They only have job or jail, and if you start reforming that education system, we can actually start solving the problem, because a lot of it is just desperation. I mean, mental health and gun control matter, but we have a real gun safety issue. Just ask, do you think a person would check if a gun is loaded by staring down the barrel? If you think everyone is cool on that, then you think we don't need gun safety. We need gun safety. People should have to take gun safety to own guns, especially young people, because they shoot themselves. All right, bye.
All right. All right, man. Well, at first I thought he was trolling. I'm glad I didn't get, because that's not good. But gun safety, of course, that's an issue. Not really what we're talking about tonight, but yeah. He said people looking down the barrel of the gun to check the, yeah, if you're looking down the barrel of a gun to do anything, yeah, it's pretty stupid. 614-6145. Looks like we have an international call. 614. You're live on the Tim Black Show. Hello.
Hello, Tim. Hi.
Hey, how you doing? Who's this?
This is your friend from Australia, Alvin.
Alvin, what's up, man? Talk to me. What do you think about what we got going on here in the States, man, with these guns?
Whoa, it's strange. I honestly thought today we'll be talking about the debates and the aftermath of the debates. I didn't expect this to. Jeez. Speaking from an outside perspective, and maybe a lot of Americans don't really realize it, because a lot of other Western nations have had similar problems. The UK, Germany, Netherlands, and even Australia. But what happened, and I don't know if it will ever happen in Australia, in America, was that there was a shooting. I'm trying to remember the year, but I think it was in the 80s, early 80s. About 40 people were killed in the day by one gunman. And it wasn't even an assault rifle. It was maybe like a pop action. He killed 30-something people in one day. And the Australian government basically banned assault rifles and everything, have strict gun laws from that time. And Tim, you know what happened?
Yeah, you drastically reduce the amount of killings. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Another thing else happened, which most people don't realize. Virtually all the politicians that were on the right that agreed with the left at the time to ban all of them lost elections. All of them lost elections.
Wow.
All of them. So maybe the right in America might need some sacrificial lambs to pass this in. I don't know, but that's one thing. And again, they keep on saying video games. That one is, I don't know. Maybe the video game industry needs to donate more to the campus. The bottom line is that, and the mental health issue, come on. There's mental health issues all over the world. It's the same thing everywhere. Even crazy, we might say crazy people in America that believe in conspiracy theories, Alex Jones fans, QAnon, they're all here. They're all here. Extreme right-wingers, they're all here. So why haven't there been a lot of mass shootings here? It's not happening. I'm not saying there are not guns here. There are guns here. We have wilderness. People hunt. Same thing as America. But we have strict gun laws here. And even when our neighbors, New Zealand, had that problem, was it some months back, where, get this, an Australian citizen, he went to New Zealand to the 2 different mosques then and killed those people. Immediately, they tightened their gun laws. So, honestly, I don't know what to say. A lot of people say, hey, you're not an American. This doesn't concern you. Well, just this is our perspective from outside America, and we're just wondering as to what's going on. So
I appreciate
guess, that's my 2 cents. Yes, Tim.
Thank you, Alvin. I appreciate it, man. I got to keep it moving, man. But I'll see you on Friday, man. Call in on Friday, and we'll talk about the elections. I put out a couple videos about those elections. But make a good point. Yeah, man. Look, guys. Come on. You know, let's cut the shit, guys. Come on, man. It's not mental health. Yeah, it's mental health, but it's not mental health. You know what I mean? Because there are other countries, you don't think they got people with mental health problems? They don't have guns, dummy. They don't have as many guns. You don't think there's any loopy people other places that have mental issues? Do you don't think America has... Someone hit me up today saying, look, I got a mental health problem. I've never hurt anybody in my life. And I know a lot of other people who've never hurt anybody in their life. It's not just mental health. It's sort of like, that's part of it, but it's not it. Because it's still, like, there's other variables, right? Besides the mental health part. Video games for real? Yeah, we got some violent video games. We got some violent movies, too. Right? We do. I'm not disputing that at all. But other countries have violent video games and violent movies and also mental health issues, and they don't have this anywhere near the amount of shootings that we have or death by firearms that we have. Because what? What's different? What's different? The access of guns and the laws, gun laws, okay? So that's the issue. And look, Alvin, we just don't care enough about people dying here. That's all. I mean, not all of us, but corporations run our country. We're the United Corporate States, the United Corporations of the United States. The United States of corporations. That's it. That's really what it's all about. We'd have a lot of things different. Our medication, our prescriptions wouldn't be 10 times as high as most other places, right? We have health care for everyone. You know, we wouldn't have so many homeless. You know, we wouldn't have so many gun deaths. But we got corporations that run this country. All right, going to the next call. 347, you're live on the Tim Black Show. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hey, Tim, what's going on?
Hey, who's this?
It's Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Sorry, delay.
No problem.
It's Chris from Brooklyn.
Talk to me, Chris. What's on your mind, man?
Well, long-time listener. A couple of times I called in. Felt I had to talk about this. So I'm in a state where there's gun laws and there is still some gun violence in New York. But there's a difference. And I think some of the things that your listeners need to understand is that the idea of gun reform has been something that I've debated on, and I think any black person probably debates on too. The gun violence that happens usually in New York is usually personal. That is, my gang doesn't like your gang. You said something I don't like, I popped off at you. It's a personal thing. There's collateral damage in that, which is terrible in itself, but there's usually an intended target for the bullets that are used. In this case, what we're dealing with is a case of two things: a false sense of empowerment through the use of guns, as well as an ideology of white supremacy. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to go with that because when you have this ideology of white supremacy and you feel that you're supreme and you feel that you have tools at your disposal that will let you do what you want to do to anybody who comes before you, then it's almost impossible to give up that amount of power. And so it's not even about who I'm hurting. It's about this idea that, well, that won't happen to me. How many gun owners have talked about how they're responsible gun owners? I'm responsible. It won't happen to me. I wouldn't do that. Those are irresponsible people. But they understand the power that they wield. They want it. They want to keep it. There's no reason why they want to give it up. Just because a couple of other people were foolish enough to get killed, that wouldn't happen to me. And goddamn any brown person or black person who comes, oh, did I say the right word? I mean the wrong word? I mean any quote-unquote person who comes around my territory and my stuff, I'm going to show them what for. Now, the reason I brought up the idea of gun violence in this case is because you brought up the idea of Chicago. Chicago and any other urban area that is impoverished, has been purposely left impoverished, and has been given a certain amount of guns is going to have that kind of gun violence. Mm-hmm. And I can't equate the same thing. I'm sorry, Tim. I can't agree with you on that. It is important, yes, but it's not the same thing.
What you don't agree with?
We're talking about,
hold on. What you don't agree with?
I don't. What I don't agree with, I think what your idea was about that too. What about them?
Yeah, what about them?
And I'm like, it is important to talk about that, but It's important to talk about it in context. The context that we're talking about here is not random gun violence associated with bad blood with other people who like on a personal level, like I said, gang to gang or like block to block. It's different. People get shot in that situation. I'm not saying it's not terrible. What I'm saying is that it's a different context. The context that we witnessed over the weekend is one of an ideology of supremacy, one of I don't want to lose power, one of a paranoia. And that paranoia needs to be dealt with. That is the mental health issue I think that needs to be talked about. It's almost like I'm not going to say white supremacy derangement syndrome, if I could quantify it. If I were a psychologist, I'd probably quantify it that way. Because it's this idea of I don't want to give up my power to any other people. They're always fearful of losing something. And I think that's been inbred ever since the Pilgrims came over and started taking stuff away from the Native Americans. This fear that, oh, well, I can do this to you, but, if they ever get in power, they're going to do the same thing to me. And that is a different context than I'm impoverished, I'm angry, I've got, I don't have much what I think to live for, and that other gang member over there looked at me wrong, and I know we've got beef. It's a different context. So mixing the two, I think, is a mistake, Tim.
It's not mixing. Okay, let me talk. I'm not mixing the two. What it is this, you have to understand this. There are people, right, who are saying,
yes, sir.
We're talking about El Paso, and we're talking about Dayton, but we're not talking about Chicago and other inner city areas where just as many people have died. And if you're going to have that conversation, you can't have a nuanced conversation. I'm glad you brought up these issues that exist in these inner city areas where there's violence, where there's poverty. But I got to disagree with you. I think that living in poverty, generation upon generation, with a lack of access to resources, can produce its own form of mental health decay. So I think that we need to look at. We might want to look at the mental health. I think a case of distress that people are suffering from, sort of the same way that you would look at a veteran who's been in Afghanistan. A syndrome.
Yes.
There you go. So I don't think we're really that far off. I'm not saying they're the same things at all. I just want to respect.
Okay.
I just want to respect and say, hey, I acknowledge that those lives matter too. And if we're going to have a conversation about people who lost their lives this weekend, It's all about timing. You know what I'm saying? It's not just because I wanted to bring it in, but because it happened in the same span of time, and I thought it would be disrespectful not to include it. But I get where you're coming from.
My apologies, Tim. I appreciate the correction. You're completely correct about that. I don't think that it should be something not talked about.
Yes.
And I thought I heard wrong. My apologies for that. You're completely correct. What I find is that when we talk about this in terms of the media usually sensationalizes Chicago, and it's like one of the Bill O'Reilly talking points of, well, what about Chicago?
Yeah.
Anytime people don't want to talk about what's happening for real or what should be happening, they always throw it over to, yeah, but the blacks in Chicago are shooting each other. What about that? It's a sort of, banana in the tailpipe sort of thing. And you're completely correct. It is disrespectful to not even mention that. But it's under a different context. And I think the reason why this needs to be dealt with in a different way, and I guess maybe it should be brought up as well, but it should be brought up in a different context because of the idea that this is going to continue to happen. And the reason why it's going to continue to happen is because white folks do not want to give up their guns because they have this fear that brown people, black people are going to take their stuff. It is just, I think it's really that simple. It is this idea of being empowered. I'm powerful, and let somebody come at me. I swear to God, somebody's going to come at me. I'm going to get them. I'm always prepared, which is almost is a form of paranoia. Now, like you said, I think there is a mental health situation in terms of poverty and what poverty can produce, the fact that it can make people do the most vilest of things for survival. But this isn't even about survival. This is a perceived version of it. And we know that within the past few years, at least the past three to 4 years, perception is now reality. So even though this reality, it's not real, to them it is. And the people in power, lawmakers, things of such, are not going to want to give that up completely, because the idea of doing what Australia did is to give up all their power, this idea, this false sense of, I can take my liberty back. I'm just like the founding fathers, in case the military gets out of control, I can protect my stuff. And again, those brown people, the hordes of zombie people who want my stuff, I'm prepared for them. And it's a delusion. It's a mass delusion that people will not talk about because it's really just, it hurts people's feelings to hear that. Nobody really wants to hear stuff like that, but it literally is. I mean, when this happens again within the week or within next week, I hope it doesn't, but it will. When it happens again, we'll talk about what can be done, and what will be done is a bunch of tears and prayers by a bunch of politicians who will not touch the issue that the modern terrorist that is really just terrorizing the United States right now has a face. He has an identity. And he has specifics that nobody really wants to talk about. It is usually white males who are young, between the ages of 15 through 45, and they will not talk about that. That is something that they refuse to talk about, because once you do that, then you have to recognize that this is a large-scale problem among, quote unquote, the group that is trying to keep its trying to keep its stuff, that's trying to say that it has the power to do these things. Once you put that out there, it's like, no, not me. Are you serious? And then, of course, they're going to feel like they're slandered and things like that. Though, again, they have no problem using the same talking points that Bill O'Reilly does about, those animals out in Chicago will shoot each other and the poor people will do this and that. But once you throw the mirror back on them, they will not deal with it right. And what I'm expecting is just much more and more violence. And I hate to say this, but look, I'm black in New York and black in America. I don't have any real – I have the hope, but I'm definitely prepared for the fact that I know what the United States will do. It's going to cover this up. It's going to continue – and I don't mean cover up as in like some sort of espionage thing. I mean it's going to cover it up in terms of the white males will get offended, so we will not offend them. We will continue to tiptoe around this. And all the while, people will continue to make money off of this. Politicians will make money off of the gun lobbies. The gun lobbies will make money off of their stocks. Yep. And sadly, anybody who knows how the United States is will buy stock in gun companies and wait for the next shooting, so that when there's talk about the legislation, their stock prices can go up and then they can sell it off. It is like the easiest con, the easiest way to make money, though there's blood on your hands and I wouldn't necessarily do it. It is like the easiest sort of thing to do, because no one wants to talk about what the real issue is. that white males between the ages of 15 through 45 have real problems, and they have problems that are now being pushed out on everyone else, and they're the problems here. They're the terrorists, or at least they're the face of terrorism. And I mean, sorry, I don't mean to go on too long, but that's literally what's going to happen. And we're just going to keep hearing more of the rigmarole about, prayers, evil this, lone wolf that, foolishness like this. And all the people who are saying that, all those politicians who are saying it, will then continue to make money off of it. Even the progressive line that I respect so much, because I'm progressive, won't touch this because they're afraid of it. So it's just going to be one of those things that people tiptoe around because nobody wants to lose the white male vote.
Man, I love it, man. I appreciate you calling in. I got to leave it there, though, man. Thank you for speaking truth to power, bro. I say this, the government's created this. And I don't mean it in a conspiratorial fashion either. I mean, literally, they created it. And it's not even something that we can debate. It's up for debate. I mean, they tell these white guys, hey, this is your country. It's all you. You control it all. You're powerful. And then you find out you're not. Then you find out you're just a run-of-the-mill. In fact, you're worse than run-of-the-mill. You're a loser. Yeah, you're a loser because you're not successful. You're not rich. I mean, come on, there's no rich white guys doing this. These are always poor people. It's always people with money, without stuff that do this. Well, typically, right? 9 times out of 10, right? So they're being lied to. They're being fed this idea that this is their country. You rule the world. You're the greatest. You're fantastic. And people start realizing that it's not that way. They get that cold water thrown on them at 3 a.m. Get that wake-up call, right? And they can't deal. So I think it's America lying to white guys, telling them that they're better than Tim Black just because they're white, when they're not. Telling them that they're going to be more successful. Telling them they're going to get the fine wife, the beautiful wife, the size 3, without need of any implants or anything. The beautiful wife, and smart too, and great mom, and have 2.5 great kids, and have a nice house with a picket fence, and be respected at your job. And what do they get? What do they end up with? A bunch of college debt. Not doing as well as some guys. A couple Tim Blacks might smoke them. Yeah? In the success department. But the realization, the resentment builds, and the realization sinks in that you've been lied to, man. You look funny. Your mom dressed you funny. You're not that smart. You're not that bright. You aren't going to be successful. You're going to be a loser, more than likely. And you're just going to be a guy who ends up in debt, owing thousands and thousands of dollars, who just took up space. And some people can't deal with the reality of that. That not definitive outcome, but the likely outcome. Not exactly a sunny disposition left among the faces of these people. Anyway, let me go on to the next call. Good stuff, man. It was great conversating with you. Wow. Yeah. All right. 810, you're live on the Tim Black Show. What's your name? What's your comment? Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing? You're live. What's your name and what's your comment?
My name is Katie. I was just calling in because I was thinking it's more media, because my nephew hid himself up in his attic because of all the Russiagate stuff, thinking the Russians were coming to get him. It was bad, so we had to put him in a mental ward. Then I look at, because I live in Flint, so I've done a lot of research on the water. The crime rate is going to go up because of the lead in all those city waters. And that's why they took the lead out of gasoline. And so I don't see it getting any better until they start fixing the environment, the way people think, the media, get mental health, and get dirty politicians out.
Wow. You said it was your nephew. Who was the young man that you was in the attic because of the Russians?
My nephew.
Your nephew. How's he doing now? Is he okay?
Yeah, he got so He's had to be put in a couple times since then, but it's Russia. Every time he got online or listened to the news, all they hear is Russia, Russia, Russia. He thought they were coming to get him. He barricaded himself up in the attic. It was bad. So yeah.
Wow, sister.
He never acted like he had a mental issue before. But and then try to get him help. It's hard to get him help because you can't force him because they mess with the mental health stuff so much. You know, they don't have to live. You know, you can't force a mental health person to live in a group home. They can do basically what they want. I know my sister's schizophrenic, so I've learned that one there the hard way. But I do believe a lot of the crime rate, like in Chicago, they have a lot of killings. In Flint, we have a killing about every week. And a lot of that is due to the lead. They're already getting prepared for all these kids that are being brought up to deal with the crime rate.
My sister. Thank you for calling up and giving us that information and for sharing your personal story. That's, wow, that's something else. That's horrific right there. And you're right. There's no safe levels of lead in the human body. So there's going to be effects of that lead poisoning in those Flint residents, those babies, and those adults. Horrible stuff. You know, I covered it a lot on this channel. And no, as she stated, it's not just Flint. Many other. In fact, go anywhere where there's poor people, you'll find all types of environmental catastrophes. Quietly happening, just quietly. 404, you're live, Freedom. God, I keep saying Freedom Friday. Live on the Tim Black Show, 404. What's your name? What's your comment? 404.
Hey, Tim, this is Dak from Georgia.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? What's your comment?
I'm doing good. So I have a couple things to say. So, you know, when stuff like this happens, you know, I want to look for solutions. And I feel like nothing will actually change until we have comprehensive reform. And that, at the core of it, means we need to get money out of politics. And so, you know, there's a lot of talk about Trump, you know, to blame. I don't think Trump is the only one to blame. Fox News has been, you know, talking like Trump forever. Conservative talk radio has been talking like Trump forever. So, you know, I don't think it's just Trump to blame. People want to blame assault rifles. Assault rifles are not the only guns that are causing most of the gun deaths. It's a lot of it are handguns. People want to blame video games. Obviously, that's ridiculous. Mental illness is not the only problem. We shouldn't demonize people with mental illness. I mean, currently there's 32,000 gun deaths every year, with 10,000 of them being homicides, and the rest of them being suicides, accidents, you know, things like that. And most of that are from handguns, you know. So the solution has to be a comprehensive reform. And I mean, again, right now, people are facing a lot of anxiety. And I think that's also at the core of it. So, you know, people are getting really anxious about the world. You know, so that's what's really having people take up arms and doing things that they normally wouldn't do. I mean, we're talking, you know, economic anxieties. I mean, that's really, I honestly think that's really at the core of it, economic anxiety. You know, people aren't being educated properly in general, even about you know, providing gun safety. You know, there is no universal health care for people who may have mental illness to get the care that they need consistently. Some people may be able to get the care for mental illness, but, you know, if they could only probably afford it for a couple of months or maybe up to a year, if something happens with their job, the economy goes under, whatever, they may drop out and may not be able to continue their treatment. and they may potentially carry out some type of attack as a result. I mean, again, just so we need to have universal health care. So again, has to be comprehensive. So, I think that this is why Bernie Sanders' message, I think that that's why it really transcends everything. This is why we need Bernie as the president of the United States, because, he really tackles the issue, which is we need a revolution. And, part of that revolution is to get money out of politics, and if we can do that, it will really prevent a lot of these industries. Again, things that are affecting healthcare. If we get money out of politics, we'll be able to have a more honest look into solving healthcare and providing universal healthcare. If we get the pharmaceutical companies out of the way, we'll be able to reduce drug prices. And of course, with the guns, if we get money out of politics, the NRA will have less of an effect on our politics, and the gun manufacturers will have less of a say-so, to the reforms that are being introduced, just basic reforms that are being introduced, like universal background check that majority of Americans support, Democrat, Independent, Republican, even NRA members. Okay, it's the money it's money in politics that is really causing a lot of the problems that we have, and I don't. Like I said, it should be comprehensive. I don't think people should demonize one group or another group. I think it's a comprehensive thing. I honestly don't think it's just, white people that are that are shooting each other. It's happening with black folks. It's happening with Hispanics. Again, I think it's the bigger anxiety that is happening in our country that is causing all this. Is even the previous caller that mentioned that white guys from the age
90 seconds.
He said 18 to 45. I mean, they're facing a lot of anxieties too, and that's one of the reasons why they're carrying out the problems that they're carrying out. Just because their anxieties don't manifest in, let's say gang culture, for example, doesn't mean that it's not the same type of anxieties. It's just they just express it differently. So.
Okay. I gotta leave it there, brother. But I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. That was a way to go with with sharing your ideas, man.
60 seconds.
There is an uptick in hate crimes. Okay, over the last couple of years. Now, some people say that's because they added more columns to the hate groups analysis to what qualifies as a hate crime, but the spike is not in those areas. The spikes of hate crimes, the people that are still feeling the most hate crimes are not transgenders, or black folks and Jews, right? So, and Muslims. So those were already considered protected groups that were, experiencing hate crimes, So I've heard some people on the right argue, it's because they added more groups to the hate crime. Well, the spike is not with the, because they've added like handicapped people, for instance. If you focus on handicapped folks, they consider that a hate crime. Can be considered a hate crime.
10 seconds.
So, but I do understand what you're saying. I mean, and to your point, maybe white people who are reacting to if you listen to Bernie Sanders give you the deal, the business about what's going on in America, about our incomes being flat and all the money going to the top and all the people that are suffering. I mean, I say on this show so many times, brother, how many we got like 35-40% of homeless people have jobs. They just don't make enough to live indoors. That's not all black people and all Latinos. There are a lot of white people who don't live indoors because they don't make enough money to live indoors. It's not because they don't want to live indoors. It's not that they don't want an alternative lifestyle. Ooh, everybody don't want to camp perpetually. Right? It's because they don't make enough money. So, and focusing specifically on white men, suicide rate of white men has gone through the roof. So maybe they're not, resorting to some of the other things. They're turning guns on themselves, as you stated earlier. So I get it, brother. I do get it. But when you talk specifically about mass shootings and about what's going on with that, that's like another segment. But yeah, comprehensive reform is what's needed. But you're right. If you don't get money out of politics, we can't have an honest conversation about anything. I mean, once you bring money in the picture and people need it, and people needed to run for office, I mean, they were saying some crazy amount of time, percentage-wise, that politicians spend dialing for dollars instead of actually writing legislation. It's crazy. Spend more time trying to raise money for the next election than they do writing for legislation. And that's because our system is busted. And also because, they lean into getting money from big donors, too. All right. Good call, though. Good call. Thank you. 343? You're live on Freedom. You're live on the Tim Black Show. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hey, Tim Black. It's your friend from Canada, President Patrick Fagan. How are you doing tonight, Tim?
Hey, Pat.
So we in Canada have the same issues in America when it comes to hate crimes and terrorism and stuff like that. We had the Quebec mosque shooter, killer, who killed 7 to 8 Muslims about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. We also had separate incidences with mass shootings with incels and other communities. And I don't think video games and social media is the reason that they do these things. I think it's on people who don't have the opportunity to do things properly, or they're influenced by propaganda that's in through military-industrial complex. So essentially, with the migrants that are coming in through the southern border up to your country, is all propagated by the same people who believe Venezuela is a bad country. They put embargoes and sanctions that cripple their economy and forces the situations with the migrants, and that creates false equivalency with propaganda saying that these people are horrible. The leaders that they came from are horrible. Like Maduro is supposedly a bad person, or people from Syria, for example, Iran, Afghanistan. All of these people are influenced by Western media propaganda, and says these people are not the proper way to put into the Western Hemisphere. So they have the fears. They feel like they're going to take away their jobs. They're going to take away their financial security. But when you propagate that and put it in the psyche of regular people, they even think, oh, our country's not the problem. They're the problem. Every other country in this world is the problem. But when they have to look at their introspective self, to look at the real problem, imperialism, cops, because essentially cops have become essentially like terrorists within themselves, some of them. Like they have people just kill random black people just for no reason at all, or impose their will for the government's sake. So they make profits and stuff like that. So when I was starting to think that it's Western propaganda that influences them to do it as well, it's not social media. It's, let's just say, the movie industry. The movie industry has a lot of like CIA propaganda that says Muslims are bad. But what happened in 9/11 after that? Bam. You have the Iraq-Afghanistan wars. You have the wars in Somalia. Then you have people like the people that created the drug war. So, El Salvador's crazy. Foreign policy created MS-13. So I don't want to blame America for everything that's wrong with the world with gun violence and violence with other countries, including my own, that are influenced by Trump or previous administrations before that. But there is a psyche that says we're inferior to every other country in the world, and if they're a threat to us, then we're going to take you down. So I would say imperialism, propaganda from movies, and also some, not all social media, but most of the pro-war social media sort of puts in their psyche saying, oh, you're supposed to make sure that our country's protected, so we must go into theirs, and so it doesn't happen to us. But anyways, you have a great night there, Tim. And by the way, people have said to me that I have been considered an extremist for my comments, and I'm just like, I'm not an extremist. I'm anti-war, and I'm anti-police state. So that doesn't make me a violent threat. So I wouldn't say that social media is a violent threat. I think people who censor are the ones who are going to have the problem, because we can't come up with solutions to go against the mainstream media. So anyways, you have yourself a great night there, Tim. And my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody in El Paso, Dayton, Ohio, and Chicago, Illinois. Love you, Tim. Have a good night.
All right, Pat. Thank you for the comments, man. I appreciate it. Wow. Calls you an extremist because you're They throw stuff against the wall, man. Take it from somebody who gets called all types of different names, all types of labels. Yeah, all right, come on. Don't listen to them. 907, you're live on the Tim Black Show. What's your name? What's your comment?
Good evening, honey. It's Laura.
Hey, Laura.
I'm going to try and do this as quick as I can. I'm old, and you said something that struck a nerve about the young man, saying, hey, wait until you're in your 40s and 50s. Well, I'll wait until you're in your 70s. We've been here before. In the 1930s, in New York City, at the, Times Square, where they had the boxing. 40,000 people showed up dressed in Hitler outfits, and there was a German man speaking, and on either side of him was the Hitler swastikas, and in the dead center of it was the picture of George Washington, and they're all Heil Hitler. We had over 50,000 at the time. This is 1934, Nazis. Now, mind you, those people had children and grandchildren, and then now great-grandchildren. We've had concentration camps before. They're called internment camps with the Japanese. We've had a war on drugs since the CIA dropped crack cocaine inside the inner cities. This has been a buildup for over 50, 60 years now. And we're just finding that it's like shaking a bottle of champagne, and the bubbles get going and going and going and going, and finally it's just going to explode. And everyone wants to blame it on Trump, and you know what? The prick has a really, he's got blood on his hand, but no matter worse than the nice, smooth-talking Obama who turned 2 wars into 7. And where everybody was just so asleep and so unaware, But the problems we're facing right now has always been here. I'm from Alaska. I'm native and I'm white. We live in the United States is built on the largest genocide the world's ever seen. And then came the slaves. And white supremacy has always been here. The Ku Klux Klan, you can look it up on Google. Just go to Google Photos. You'll see way back in the 40s and 50s marching down the streets of Washington, D.C. Now, the corruption is what's got us going. And everyone says, well, until we get money out of politics. Well, how do you do that? Well, MLK, Harry Belafonte, Cornel West, and a lot of good men of that era were trying to get the poor people's campaign going. But there was a march on Washington, and there was people of all colors listening to Martin speak.
Mm-hmm.
We need that kind of, this is what Bernie Sanders says about a revolution. Everyone thinks if they just call their senator or bitch on the internet or what have you, it's going to change. No, it's not. We got to get up and get into the streets peacefully, but by the millions, like they tried to do a little bit in 2008 with the Occupy Wall Street. But no, we need to sit in Washington, D.C. and not move our asses until the corruption's done. These people can't move an inch without our tax money. They can't do anything without our money coming out of our wallet. So we show them who's boss by people, old dying people like me. You said something about watching them canes. I had to laugh. I'm in a wheelchair. I can hardly move anymore. And my thumb gets me around. Now you imagine 500,000 of us old fuckers who already know we're dying. We ain't got anything anymore. And I'm on my way out the door anyways. They're about to kick us out of our homes now. HUD just quadrupled our rent. We can't afford it. So some of us worked hard to make this country better in the 60s and the 50s. We tried hard, and we kept going. We just got old. So you put us in lines around all of y'all, 4 or 5 deep, and everybody walked peacefully. Not one person picks up a bottle. Not one person shows anything but love. But we don't move an inch until we get what we want. And we want our country back. We want our money to get out of them rich people's pockets and back into this country where our children have a decent meal at night, a home that's not the back of a car, where their education covers more than just basic arithmetic, and they don't know their history. We're repeating history because it's not being taught. And no one listens to grandmas and grandpas anymore because we smell funny, or we might not have any teeth left, or we ramble on. But by God, it's going to take people power. Bernie means it. It's going to take people power. Not one president can do this. Not one person can do this. It's going to take every one of us to get up and say no more. This is our country. You will pay retribution to the people who we stand on their shoulders. They built this country. My people died for this country. Your people built this country and they reap the benefits, and that's the way it was meant to be. Private prisons, shut it down. Any bank you go banking with, find out where they're investing your money. If it's invested in private prison, you pull your money out. But we need to get our asses up into Washington, D.C., and we all need to do it together. We need to pick a day to do it, and I won't think Independence Day is a great day to do it.
All right, Laura, I got to leave it there. Thank you for the phone call, though. I appreciate it. You know, you say, I don't think people went to sleep under Obama. They just were lied to. The truth was hidden from them. You know, I think being one of those people that voted for Obama the first term, I was deluded by misinformation, and the lack of information being shared, accurate information being shared throughout his presidency. And by the time I figured out what was going on, most of my friends and relatives were, you know, the people that brought in were already brought in hook, line, and sinker. You know, so, you know, I think the truth was hidden. And with Trump, they just put it in your face all the time. It's in your face. But it's never about the wars or about the same issues that they even present Trumpisms or the Trumpification of America. They even present it as this alien thing, even though a lot of the policies that he's carrying out are very similar to what Obama was carrying out. Or they don't tell you about it at all, and they let the tweets be the big issue. Yeah, Trump said, you know, get that SOB off the field, and then that's the conversation for a week. See, I got it now. I get it. It's a distraction technique. Thank you, Lord, for the phone call. I appreciate you. International call 1529. You're live. Tim Black Show. What's your name? What's your comment?
So this is Herb from Mexico City.
Herb, my friend. What's on your mind, Herb?
Hey, Tim. Thanks for what you're doing, your show, what you always do, and thanks for this call-in show. It's fantastic. And amen to the caller just before. And, yeah, we need to we're going to need the grassroots movements to stand up and march and to any way we can peacefully to support Bernie and Tulsi if they get elected, hopefully. But my point was that here's something that possibly the progressive movement can do now about gun violence and the mass killings. Maybe not. Maybe they I have to wait until after Bernie and Tulsi wins. But I'll say a larger idea, and then I'll connect it to how maybe we can do something about gun violence now. The larger idea is Bernie and Tulsi get elected, by a miracle, and fantastic. And that's what's happening here in Mexico now, with the fourth transformation. So hopefully they get elected, and the grassroots movement that put them in the White House helps carry out the agenda, and we have a transformation of the country. Maybe that happens, hopefully. So I think it's vital in that process to have truth and reconciliation process, like in South Africa, because two reasons. And I'm going to connect this to the gun shootings for two reasons. Because truth and reconciliation process, because the people who have the power, enjoying having all the power and everything, is that they don't want to lose what they have. It makes sense. If you grew up in it, you don't want to lose it. And also, like another caller was saying there about racism and violence, is that they're going to be afraid of retaliation. So it's just for any callers, any audience viewers who may not know about truth and reconciliation in South Africa. I don't know, hundreds of years ago, Britain invaded South Africa and many other places, and they took control and they occupied. And for hundreds of years, they oppressed and murdered black people. So what happened when Mandela was elected? They had a truth and reconciliation process, which is publicly the people who did these horrible things face to face with the people that did the horrible things too, and their families and friends. So what happens is that some people are unrepentant and they're beyond salvation or redemption. But what happens is that you're face to face with this, and it's a very profound and human thing that happens, and it's a healing for the country, and the country can move on. But the truth is told, and the pain is known by the people who did it, and in a very public way. So I think we need that. So connected to gun violence. I don't know if the progressive movement can make this happen, but a shooter who survives to go to court have some sort of mini truth and reconciliation process. And if this could happen, if the person wanted to, and sure, they may go to jail for the rest of their life, but have publicly, face to face, it'd be a profound thing, I think, for the country, and help wake people up and change mindsets. So the whole country, as you can see, obviously, he's in jail for the rest of his life. He's destroyed his life. He's in jail for the rest of his life. He's destroyed his soul or whatever, his person as a human being. And so that's not very attractive. Maybe you might think twice about doing something stupid and horrible. And so just to close it out, that maybe something like that could happen, and that it's a redemptive process for the nation, and also for the families, and for the perpetrator. And so whether or not the person can rejoin society might say, look, you do something like this, then we need to separate you forever, for the rest of your life. Or maybe there's a way to integrate society again. But either way, it's a chance to heal the nation and help heal that individual. And so that's it. That's my comment. And I sent you emails, but I don't know if it got lost in your spam folder. But I don't know. Maybe everyone's trying to email you. Thank you very much, Tim. I love what you do. Thank you.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate the phone call. And hey, from Mexico, brother, I appreciate it. I'm open, right? I'm open to new ideas. I mean, we all are. The whole community is open to new ideas. And redemption, some type of, public display, something that actually doesn't just let us move on to the next thing. I could see that being effective. It can't hurt, right? Doesn't sound like it would be all that hard to do. And what I have a problem with is where we just kind of just move on to the next highlight reel, So thank you for the phone call, brother. I appreciate it. 954. You're live on the Tim Black Show. What's your name? Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Tim. This is Mark. Big fan of the show. I'm calling in just because, lately, I see all these Warren supporters, and it just it does concern me a bit. And I think it's, pretty sad that, that's just the case when it was 2016, Bernie was, in the primaries, and Warren was being waited on to endorse someone, and well, she just stood on the sidelines and just waited and waited, and didn't really do anything, until the very last minute.
Yeah, tonight we're talking about El Paso, Dayton, Ohio, and Chicago, Illinois. Man, we're talking about the shootings. You have any thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, to really get anything done in that regard, we need to have better progressive unity. I see that the unity is not really there. When it's from candidates supporting each other, especially those that get elected and that are trying to run. Some of these people have huge platforms, and they can help raise these other candidates running up with their social media presence. And if we want to really get that done, got to raise each other up.
Huh?
There's got to be unity.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate the phone call, man. And
That's really it.
see me Friday, man. Call me Friday and talk about Elizabeth Warren, man. I'll be here Friday, and I look forward to hearing from you. All right, brother. 682. 682, you're live on the Tim Black Show. What's your name? What's your comment?
Hey, this is Christian from Fort Worth, Texas.
My man, talk to me now.
This is a common thing I heard tonight. It's the media. I agree. It's the media too. It's they don't want to give up power. They see that it's a new rise of the progressive left coming, and they keep stoking fear in Trump and race, because they don't want to give up what they've been receiving all this time. And it's kind of pissing me off, because I mean, people dying now, So that's all I really had to say. I just wish we really need to get behind Bernie, get behind Tulsi, get behind somebody, because people are out here getting scared. My nieces talking about, I don't even like to show them the news, My sister try to keep them away from all this, but the kids are getting scared. I just wish something would happen, something different. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you calling up. And it's tough. You're right. It's not going to just be a leader, though. It's going to take more than just that. I mean, Bernie says all the time, excuse me, that one man can't do it, not one woman either. I know we wish, it'd be great if it could happen that way, but it's going to take actually a concerted effort of people being involved, people getting involved on a grassroots level. You there in Texas, me here in Maryland, and we're going to have to all kind of come together and push lawmakers and push elected officials, man, to do the right thing and do to carry out the agendas we want. And if not, we got to help get them out of office. We got to help get them out, have them replaced. And we also going to have to start holding politicians accountable that they have to run on our money, not the money of big money interests or special interests. So if we can't look at this like we need to just get a president, because we're going to need more than that. We're going to need a revolution, which is the reason why I still support Bernie Sanders. It's the reason why I've endorsed him, not only in 2016, but here in 2020, leading up to 2020, because I believe that revolution is what's needed. And anything short of that won't get it done. Gosh, guys. So much conversation tonight, so many great calls. I know it was a somber night for a show. Thought more people would kind of want to chime in here. And what can I tell you, man? Maybe people are desensitized to a large degree. Like, they don't want to have that conversation anymore, They want to, and I understand how people can get that way. It's like we continuously talk about these shootings, we talk about these deaths. But I also want to point out that some of this, right, when we talk about Donald Trump, we say we say Trump responsible, Trump has a responsibility. And I say that because he's a figurehead. I say that because if you're the president, you are responsible. That's what leaders do. Leaders take responsibility for stuff. I take responsibility for things that aren't even my fault, but I want to be a part of, I always want to be empowered and feel like I can make the change. So I like to own it so that I can conquer it. You get what I'm saying? That's how I look at life, I don't say, oh man, I'm in this situation. I go, what can I do how do I let myself be in this situation, and what can I do to get out of it? I'm in this situation. I must have did something that got me here. How can I get us out of this? How can I change this situation? Usually, I think I turn out much better than a guy who sits back and goes, oh no, I'm a victim. I'm in this situation. Look what they did to me. But make no mistake about it, guys. I want it to be known that I also feel like if Donald Trump is part to blame, the media is also part to blame because the media keeps pointing at that guy. So the media has empowered Donald Trump from the beginning. They gave him the nitroglycerin. They gave him the rocket fuel. They gave him the atomic punch, the uppercut, the katana blade. They gave him what he needed in order to become president because they kept fueling his presidency, his campaign, I should say. And they continue to fuel Donald Trump. If you say the guy is a loose cannon, then why keep reporting on him? And there are times that they have misquoted him. There are times they've taken him out of context. And I think they knew it. Go back. Take a look at Charlottesville. Take a look at the way they took that and ran with it and said he was talking about white nationalists when he said there were good people on both sides. After I've taken time to really look at that situation, I realized he was talking about people who came there who wanted to keep the monuments up. Now, I may disagree with them. I got T-shirts called F Your Monuments. I don't care about monuments. Of people, from who want to keep my people in chains. But those people are not necessarily Nazis. Those people are not necessarily, neo-Nazis or Nazis or Aryan Nation or whatever. Those people may just be people who just believe that they want to preserve that thing. I don't agree with them, right? But just look at the way, what I'm trying to get you to see is that there is definitely a benefit to demonize Trump, honestly or dishonestly, doesn't matter. He does deserve criticism. Come on, man, he does. But like I stated in the beginning, this is not a white or black or cut and dry situation. This is nuanced. There are contexts that needs to be discussed that I think if we don't do that, then we are missing the boat entirely. So I don't know what we solved tonight other than we had a conversation about an important issue. We didn't ignore it. And I do believe, hey, we did come away with a couple of things that I think most gun owners, two-way people would respect. Raise the age of ownership of firearms to at least 25. I don't think you lose your, totally lose your mind if you had to wait a couple more years to get a gun, right? I think there are some common sense reforms that can be taken. But also, let's look at why people are so depressed, why people are so angry, why people feel so shut off. We have to know that a fertile breeding ground for bigotry and hate groups are people being totally dissatisfied and lied to by their own government, by their own country, and being sold a false sense of goods about what was possible for them. I think that's what a fertile soil really is. It's not in Donald Trump, who just became Donald Trump, who just became president a couple years ago. That's not the only reason why, man. I mean, we have people who have been watching their parents go through what their parents went through, watching their family break down, watching their mom die of preventable diseases, watching the town deteriorate. I don't know, bleak outlooks on the future. All of these things play a part. I am not absolving a shooter. Shooters should be held responsible for your action. I don't care who you are, what color you are, where you come from, or whatever. That's just reality. But we can look at causes. And not just causes of the gun going off, but causes of what puts you in the mind state to want to go get that gun and do that act. We're thinking people. We should be able to dig a little deeper, right? All right. Well, guys, thank you once again for calling in. My name is Real Tim Black on Facebook and on Twitter. I am Tim Black at Night on Instagram. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be a regular news cycle day where we talk about the news of the day. Don't forget, become a member of the Tim Black Wolfpack. If you do it, if you're a $5 a month member or more, you get a Tim Black Wolfpack gift pack, which includes bumper sticker and a bunch of other cool stuff. So do that. Do that on Patreon or Facebook or YouTube. And be here the rest of the week for the shows. And don't forget to watch our new content as it comes out on the YouTube channel. I appreciate you. Remember, this is your show. This is nothing that we do here on this program is done without the help of you. So the show is brought to you by you. Thank you for helping bring this show to the rest of the world. Thank you, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, don't let nobody take your cornbread, and sprinkle some facts on them. I'm your man, Tim Black. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Oh, my condolences once again to those people who lost friends, family, neighbors. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
No, guys, my bad. I forgot to do super chats, comments. I forgot to do super chat comments, guys. Can I take my tie off, though? My throat is sore. Okay. Super chat comments, guys. All right. Let me do this. Let me do super chat comments. Chris Morlock says, should we model a government policy on white ID extremists as terrorists and use the war on terror type tactics because the war on terror went so well? You answered your own question. You know we shouldn't. But, yeah, I think that black identity extremist thing is crazy, and I think war on drugs is crazy, and the war on terror is crazy as well. It's just to make money in the military-industrial complex. And in our case, in the former, would be to make money in the prison-industrial complex, so private prison industry. But, yeah. Kip Winter says, oh, you poor corporation. Shut up, sit down, Joe Public. Yeah, poor corporations, poor little corporations. You saw that clip? You know I did a clip with that, right? Dave Marcel, Super Chat, says, we are under attack by white supremacists. They are heavily armed and well organized. This is a textbook definition of terrorism. We need to remove terrorists from our society. James Curtis says, I know Tulsi Gabbard is the right candidate because MSNBC and CNN hate her. Kamala Harris destroyed. Well, yeah, you know, you can judge someone by who hates them, by who their enemies are. Good point. But, yeah, sometimes you can. Right? Zorp. Tim has the best callers. Great comments tonight. Always, Zarp. Thank you, Zarp. Truth Can't Be Silenced. This is the best show on the internet. Tim rules. Man, I rule because you guys rule. Thank you, Dave. And thank you for being a moderator, brother. And thank you for the phone call. TCB 101. Truth Can't Be Silenced feel my power, and I say it's the best show in the universe. In no way, this caller is black. I hear you, man. I know what you're talking about. But he was on point. I don't care what color he was. He was on point. Only he knows. TCB 101 gave another $1. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. God, man. I'll just say it was an interesting night. I'm glad you guys showed up. I know it wasn't, it's tough. Tough subject matter, guys. All right, we're out of here. I'll see you on the next one. Shout out to Facebook people, man, and Periscope people. What's up, Periscope? And all right, Tim Black's Wolfpack, I love y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.